Germany updated its travel advisory for the US this week after a number of its citizens were detained at customs and then deported.
What was intended as a short vacation turned into a nightmare. German tourist Lukas Silav was detained upon arrival in the US and hauled into a detention facility.
They put me in chains everywhere, around my stomach, on my hands, my feet. Then they put me in a van and drove me to the detention center in Satienko.
Lukas was returning to the US from a vacation in Mexico. He says he had a valid US tourist visa, but ended up spending 16 days in detention before being allowed to return to Germany. And his arrest is part of an apparent trend involving temporary visa holders and visitors being detained by US border officials on their way into the country. Canadian actress Jasmine Mooney has a similar story. She was detained for 12 days over an incomplete visa.
There was no heads up. Next thing you know, I'm taken and for 2 weeks haven't been told anything, moved in different cells, sleeping on cement, sleeping in different jail cells. Like, it just, nothing makes sense to me.
A French scientist, in turn, was denied entry into the US after his phone was searched by customs. Officials at the airport found messages criticizing the Trump administration's cuts to science programs. All deportees say they did not violate US immigration policies nor commit any crimes. The incidents follow heightened immigration enforcement under the Trump administration. The White House says it's removing known immigrant criminals.
The president is using every lever of his executive authority and his constitutional authority within the bounds of the immigration laws of our country to ensure that our streets are safer for law-abiding American citizens. And this administration is focused on detaining, arresting, and deporting illegal criminal aliens.
The crackdown also includes those who have outstayed visas or violated their terms. But Lukas Silav says his experience shows that anyone could be targeted by US customs officials.
Nobody is safe there anymore to come to America as a tourist. I get a lot of questions from people who want to visit America, and I try to help them and tell them my experience, that they need to be careful.
Immigration attorneys have now begun advising people to ensure their social media profiles are free of criticism of the US administration to increase their chances of entering the country.
Let's speak to David Beer. He's the Director of Immigration Studies at the Cato Institute in Washington, D.C., and an expert on immigration, border security, and interior enforcement. Good to have you with us, David. Should people be worried in general about traveling to the US under the current circumstances?
Yes, absolutely. We've seen cases where people's phones have been searched. They've looked at people's social media posts and used that as a basis for denying them entry or arresting them or detaining them. So there is real concern here in the United States about people who are traveling back, who were here and are trying to re-enter the United States, as well as people who are trying to reunite with family members who are abroad. All of those people should be concerned, should take proactive effort to make sure that they are not on the radar of this administration in any respect. If you look at what is happening in the United States, Customs and Border Protection, immigration and customs enforcement agents are under incredible pressure from the White House to increase detentions, arrests, and removals by any means necessary. And that means no one is off the table, including people who are entering the country legally, who have valid authorization to enter the United States. If there's any pretext whatsoever for denying them entry and detaining them and arresting them and deporting them, this administration will absolutely seize that opportunity.
It's one thing to go after people who, have violated one rule or the other relating to immigration, for example, not having the right papers or overstaying their visas. But when we're going through people's phones and checking their messages, for example, the case of the French scientist, what exactly is going on there?
Yeah, again, intense pressure to deny people entry, to arrest them, detain them. It's not totally unheard of, even before this administration, for individuals to be detained or prevented from entering the United States. We've certainly seen cases like that under every administration. There is an enormous amount of power in our immigration system here in the United States for the people and officials at ports of entry. They are, in a way, many dictators within the immigration system, in that their decision is really final and difficult to challenge. And so that is a reality that's always been there, but now, given the intense pressure that is being put on these agents and officials to increase arrests and removals, they're really exercising that discretion in order to do rather extraordinary things, like detain people for prolonged periods of time, not just put them on the next flight or allow them to get a flight home. That's kind of how it would have been handled previously. These lengthy detentions we're seeing is really what's more extraordinary than someone being denied entry.
Okay, I'm afraid that's all we have. That's all the time we have to speak to you, David Beer from the Cato Institute. Thank you very much.
Thank you.